I'll go live.
Okay.
I think you can start.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another interesting episode of Tea Talks Tuesday. So we are here today, and we're going to have a interesting session today. And I would like to request Dr. Janki to introduce the speaker and welcome the speaker. Over to you, Dr. Janki.
Thank you, Mayuri. Today is a very interesting topic that is challenges of metabolic syndrome. And when we talk about syndrome, it is not just one condition. We'll be dealing with multiple conditions. So it is definitely a challenge for the treating team. So today we have a beautiful guest here, Angelene, and she's a MSc Clinical Nutrition, and she's a registered dietitian, and she's also certified diabetes educator. Right now, currently working as a Child Development Project Officer, that is CDPO, in the Department of Social Welfare and Women Empowerment at Tamilnadu. So welcome, Angelene. So the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for the kind introduction. Let me share my screen.
Yes.
I hope my screen is visible now.
Yes.
Yeah. And you can increase your volume.
Are you able to hear me now properly?
Yes.
Great.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Doctor. Let me start the presentation. So I think Doctor has very kindly introduced about the topic. Metabolic syndrome, to be very precise, is one of the most major concerns right now for all of us, more than all the other communicable diseases. I think the most prevalent non-communicable syndrome is going to be metabolic syndrome, and it is high time we holistically work. Holistically, in the sense, I mean the team of doctors along with the dietitians, nurses, all of us holistically work to educate every client and patient that we are working with, and educate them if they are in the verge of going into metabolic syndrome, to bring them back, or if they're already into metabolic syndrome, it is actually very easy for us to reverse or maintain it at least at a much safer level. Okay. So I'll enter into my presentation with a short introduction. So what metabolic syndrome is basically a cluster of conditions. It is not just one condition, as doctor has already told. Blood pressure, high blood sugar, these are all things that we already know. But let me explain to you what is really happening inside the body. See, all of us know most of our parents, or at least one parent, is going to have blood pressure or high blood sugar, is either obese or has dyslipidemia. Uh, at the root level, if you dig and see, definitely there will be a candidate for metabolic syndrome. So let me just elicit what are the things that are happening inside the body. I think initially the one or two slides will be a bit complicated, as I'll be talking about the pathophysiology, but I feel not only the experts but also the general people who are listening to us to understand what is happening in our body, so that we really work towards our health, because that is more important in the future for all of us. Only when we have a very perfect, I don't mean perfect health, but at least when only when we are healthy we can concentrate on other stuff. So, so what is the criteria for diagnosis? Basically, there are five points here. One is elevated waist circumference. The other is triglycerides, low HDL level, which is your good cholesterol levels, and elevated blood pressure. Where, see, we usually say a normal blood pressure is something less than 120 bar 85. So what they have given here is any blood pressure that is going to exceed 130, or the diastolic pressure above above 85 is going to be considered as blood pressure. Or even if the blood pressure is low and if the candidate is going to be on hypertensive medication, definitely that is also the criteria. And the fasting blood glucose is more than 100. Out of these five, if we have even only three points from this, we can diagnose ourselves to be a perfect candidate for metabolic syndrome, and definitely start working towards what is going to get us reversed from this. Okay, and this criteria is set by the International Diabetes Federation, by ESPEN, by ASPEN. This same criteria by ADA, the same criteria is given by all the other international organizations too. So these are the criteria. So other linked, see these are, and most important point is, out of these 5 points, you can very clearly see that BMI is not even a criteria here. Because I don't mind what a client's BMI is, but I am going to look at the blood parameters and the anthropometric measurement, which is the waist circumference. So weight plays a very, very, very minute role here. But again, on the other hand, it definitely plays a small part in our metabolic syndrome cycle, which I'll be dealing with later. I hope I'm clear until this.
Yes.
So other linked metabolic abnormalities that are going to lead to metabolic syndrome. Maybe at this point, now I'm sitting here, maybe I am not a candidate. My BP is normal, my sugar is normal, but maybe I am undergoing the changes in my body. Let me tell you, I will give you more examples as I go about my presentation. My fasting glucose is crossing 95 every morning. See, 95 is quite a higher blood glucose for a person who is fasting and who is not diagnosed with diabetes. Okay, so this will lead to type 2 diabetes in the future. And atherogenic dyslipidemia. Atherogenic is nothing but a more westernized diet, which is going to be high in, I won't say it's westernized, even our food culture has changed to be a high saturated diet, high saturated fat diet with high sugars, high salt, which is going to directly lead to dyslipidemia, hypertension, which will also lead to this prothrombotic state where the blood clotting is not happening properly. Pro-inflammatory state where your body is undergoing too much oxidative stress. So oxidative stress is nothing but when cells are not stable in your body. When you eat, say when you eat a burger, the inflammatory properties, how do I put it? Just give me a minute. All the additives that is put in a burger is going to release free radicals in your body. So all these free radicals will affect your organs. So when we see your liver is going to digest the fat, but your liver will not be able to save itself from the free radicals. So as days goes by, as I'm having this burger regularly, it is going to, my fat is going to get deposited on the liver, and I will have impaired glucose tolerance. I will have impaired dyslipidemia, where my body is going to store excessive amount of things that is really not necessary for me, and directly lead to diabetes, hypertension, PCOS, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which will actually lead to liver failure in many cases that we are seeing in hospitals right now. And this has also shown that it may also lead to cancers like breast, prostate, colorectal, and liver, because there is excessive free radical damage, there is excessive oxidative stress in the body, which are leading to extreme conditions. But let me tell you something, these are not things that cannot be avoided. These are things that can be easily avoided and changed by an individual with the help of an expert like a dietitian or a doctor. It's going to help us really well. So let me go through that. So let me quote some recent studies that have happened here. Why are we choosing this topic? Why is the urgency right now? That's because there are so many studies, but I've chosen just one study right now. But there are so many studies that have shown that the prevalence of metabolic syndrome does not relate to the wealth of the country. It is not that a very well-developed state does not have metabolic syndrome. We are equally getting affected in every country, and this is mostly seen in children and adolescents, which means even the growing adults, even the future generation is going to be a high populated metabolic syndrome people here. So this is going to be a global burden. So as I usually say to all my clients, in our country we are definitely going through a double burden right now, where we are definitely seeing malnourished children. You won't believe, even today, I've been visiting all these rural areas. Every third child is severely has severely acute malnutrition or is definitely undernourished. Every third child has SAM. Every third child has MAM, or it is at least severely underweight. So, on the other hand, in the rural side, or at least when in the migrating population, every second person has metabolic syndrome. So this is the urgency we are talking about right now, and changes has to be done to our diet, to our lifestyle, and this is not going to be a short-term goal for any of us. It definitely has to be a sustainable and a long-term one. So this is another study correlating metabolic syndrome with the COVID-19 illness. So what this study has shown, that I've just pasted the conclusion here, but let me tell you what this study has shown. See, even when the person's oxygen level raises, see, what do we say when a person is affected with COVID? The more their oxygen drops, the more serious their illness is. But what this study has shown is, even after that level of seriousness, and even when the when the oxygen level increases, even when it comes up to 9900, if they had metabolic syndrome before the illness, and during, obviously during the stress time, your BP, hypertension, everything increases. Mortality is related to the metabolic syndrome than the covariates of the COVID-19 illness. So this also, at this point when we are not still out of COVID-19, this also creates a very big urgency for us, so that we return back to a very good lifestyle. So let me go around what is the overview of metabolic syndrome. Let me go from the root of the issue. So what the root of the issue is, I may say, see, food is the issue. Food, if you change your food, everything is going to be fine. No, it's not going to work like that. See, the root cause of this issue is going to be insulin resistance. If you can see here, insulin resistance in your muscle and liver. So I will talk more about insulin resistance in the next slide. And what is going to fertilize this insulin resistance is the starch. HSFS is what we call on our field. High sugar, fat and salt. Every food that is going to have high sugar, high saturated fat, this not only includes this fries, burger and all, this also includes this buttery naan, paratha, buttery paneer butter masala, that we really love. We feel Indian food, oh, it's very healthy. No, right now, I won't say, I'm not talking in general at all, but I'm talking really about the high saturated fat food that we are right now having, the amount of salt that is added to the food, which is fertilizing the root cause of the issue. What is the root cause of the issue? Insulin resistance is the root cause of the issue. So at the trunk level, what happens? High insulin level happens, and then it will lead to pre-diabetes, which will again, as I said, though we are not looking at the weight here, this pre-diabetes will lead to weight gain, this a high insulin levels, because insulin is an anabolic hormone. The more insulin your body secretes and it's not able to utilize it, the more weight gain it happens. So I will explain more about insulin resistance, because we need to understand what this high levels of insulin is going to do to our body. Okay, so this is going to lead to weight gain, abdominal obesity, fatty liver, type 2 diabetes, PCOS. As I've already talked about this, I'm not going to repeat this, but it is again going to lead to a cluster of disorders. So what do we need to do? We need to stop fertilizing the tree. So we will talk more about the diet later. So I hope I'm clear here. Is there anything I have to clarify until this slide?
No, very clear.
Thank you. So what are the causes of metabolic syndrome? So as I already said, insulin resistance, hyperglycemia, hypertension, oxidative stress, chronic inflammation, which is due to free radicals and oxidative stress that has already gone through. So all these will lead to something called as endothelial cell dysfunction. Let me tell you what is endothelial cell dysfunction. So let me tell you what is endothelial cell first. See, endothelial tissue is one of the largest organ in our body, because that is the cell that is there under our skin. Okay, so when our body is undergoing these stresses, that is the oxidative stress, when there is visceral adiposity. Visceral adiposity is nothing but there is too much fat around every organ of the body, like we call it fatty liver. There is fat around the kidney, so there is fat around your cells, there's fat around your muscles. So all these will disrupt the nitric oxide flow inside your body, which is very important for cardiac signaling. So this will cause endothelial dysfunction, which will in turn disrupt the whole function of the body, which is going to be insulin resistance. I would 100% like to call insulin resistance as the silent killer, because that is the root cause of the problem, of every problem, like type 2 diabetes. See, we are not talking about any genetic disorder like type 1 diabetes, any immune system related, but we are solely talking about the metabolic syndrome, which is going to be hypertension, diabetes, dyslipidemia, and high waist circumference. So all this, the root cause of all this is going to be insulin resistance. Let me put it in very simple terms. So as I've already said, fat is going to sit, so that is visceral adiposity, is going to sit around your cells, around your liver, around your kidney, and around your muscles. So what happens here is, usually what happens is, your cells in your blood, when our body detects that we are eating something and there is glucose, the liver is going to stimulate the beta cells to produce insulin. So when insulin is produced, the glucose that is present outside the cell will push the glucose inside the cell. So once the glucose is pushed inside the cell, it will be utilized for other products, like for energy production. And throughout the night, we need energy. For every action that we do, we need energy. So glucose is pushed inside the cell. This is for a normal metabolism. What happens when there is insulin resistance is, this fat is around each cell. Okay, maybe you can just imagine there is a cell and there is fat around each cell. So what happens is, the same thing happens. We eat, there is glucose in the blood, and the liver is going to stimulate beta cells to produce insulin. But what happens here is, since the cell is coated with fat, the insulin is not able to push the glucose inside the cell, and that is why we are going to have high glucose in the blood along with high insulin levels. So even if you say, even when your HbA1c is normal, when you take your sugars and see, it is going to be on the higher side. Even if your sugars are normal, if you take your fasting insulin, see, it is going to be on the higher side, because your body is trying to compensate for the amount of glucose that is in your blood. Because, but how much ever your body is going to produce insulin, only when the fat melts down, the glucose will be able to enter the cell, and that is when your glucose homeostasis will be maintained. So for that, I will tell you what has to be done. So this is a line of formation of atherosclerosis. So atherosclerosis doesn't sorry, is anyone trying to talk?
No.
Okay. So atherosclerosis, or fat inside your valves, does not happen overnight. It is going to take at least a decade. Maybe I am just giving a rough timeline, but it does not happen overnight. It does not happen just today I'm eating a burger and tomorrow morning my valve is going to be clogged. No, it does not happen like that. Slowly the foam cells will start forming. Then the fatty streak will start forming. So this will enhance. When the diet is not changing, it will lead to clogged valves, which is leading to stroke, cardiac arrest, cardiac dysfunction, that we are seeing at very higher levels right now. So what are we going to do for all this? So as a dietitian, I am again going to imply both on exercise and diet, but let me give you more detailed instructions on how this has to be done, and let me quote certain studies also. Okay. So um, exercise is usually strengthens your muscles. There are two types of exercise. One is going to be cardio. I am just giving a rough types of exercise. There are different types of exercises, but for this, I'm just going to roughly categorize exercise into two types. One is going to be cardio and one is going to be resistance training. Okay, what cardio does is, it's going to burn your fat. So what does cardio include? It is going to include running, walking, swimming, cycling, all those. What does resistance is going to do? Is going to strengthen your muscles. So what is resistance training? Is like lifting weights. It's not like you don't don't have to imagine lifting weights as deadlifting 60 kgs or 70 kgs. No, very simple exercises can be done with 2 to 3 kgs of weight with your own body weight. Resistance training can be done. So what this does is this will strengthen your muscle. So both cardio and resistance training should be done equally. If you're going to stick with cardio every day, resistance training at least should be done 3 times a week. That is when your muscle will strengthen. If you keep focusing on burning your fat, you will start losing your muscle. And when you're burning your fat, there is a high chance that you will be restricting your diet also, where you don't provide yourself with enough protein. So balancing the two types of exercise is very important. Only when you do that, these myokines are secreted, which will strengthen your muscles, and there is improved insulin secretion. Your insulin sensitivity increases, that is increased glucose uptake. As I already told, that when there is high insulin secretion, glucose uptake also will be better when your fat tissue around your cells reduces. So we have to look this as a more cellular level than looking at a more organ issue level. Metabolism is a more cellular function. So we need to work on the exercise. And more simpler exercises are, you can track your footsteps. See, counting footsteps with a pedometer or a smart watch like I'm wearing right now is going to be very effective. See, as the WHO guideline says, in a day, if you're going to clock around 8,000 steps, see, 8,000 steps, you can complete it within 1.5 hours if you're going to do brisk walking around your house. Or if you're going to sit and work for 1 hour, you can just walk for 10 minutes, then again go back to your laptop and start working. So that is how you have to clock at least 8,000 steps a day, which is the recent guidelines released by WHO. So counting steps has also proven to be really, really effective in most cases to reduce weight or improve dyslipidemia and all that. Okay, so this is one of my studies. This is actually a case study that I had done during my time in the hospital. What has happened is, this man, he was only 28 years old. He was in a very healthy weight 5 years back, okay? But all of a sudden, when he started to earn, when he started to work, he started to eat too much high saturated food. I have not mentioned the foods here, but let me tell you what he was having. He used to tell me that throughout the day he had around 15 cups of tea with sugar, and at night he used to have a drink, alcoholic drink, along with at least 7 to 8 high. This I'm talking about a South Indian diet. So it was a high fatty this roadside parathas along with the kurmas that was served with it, and along with eggs on a daily basis, and chicken to go with the fried chickens to go with the alcoholic drink. So it was found that only during the night time he was taking around 1,700 calories. See, for his weight itself throughout the day, we will require 7,000 calories. But he was taking almost 2,200 calories through the day, but almost 1,700 only at night. What has happened is, in a matter of 5 years, he started developing cardiac issues. So he was from a rural side. He didn't take this as a very big thing. He used to come to hospital. He used to take his aspirin and all the other hypertensive medicine that the doctor is giving him. But at one point, his body gave up that he actually needed cardiac transplant. So this is one very good example that metabolic syndrome does not stop with very simple complications like just sugar, that we can bring it down, or hypertension we can bring it down with medicine. It does not stop with that. It is going to affect our life in more ways that we can imagine. And this man, I'm talking about a 28-year-old man who had to undergo he had to undergo a cardiac transplant, and now he's doing good. He has changed his lifestyle. See, better late than never. We don't have to wait for such a big thing to happen to change our lifestyle. We need to be really cautious and take our steps beforehand. So after this, I'll be giving some gist about what are diets that are available, and let me go into another example also. So this is another study that was published by myself and my mentor. So what happens during intermittent fasting? See, there are different types of diet in the field right now. There's intermittent fasting, there's keto, there's calorie deficit. But let me tell you something, all these are going to come down to one thing, which is going to improve your metabolism. And what you have to keep in mind is, you cannot cut down your calories. Say someone is going to say, see, drink just water today, drink just liquid, stay on liquid diet today. You cannot do that. When you are going to stay on a liquid diet today, you are going to lose your muscle. You stay on a liquid diet for 2 days and try testing your blood. You will have creatinine in your blood, because creatinine, your urea will be high. These are signs of dehydration even when you are having so much liquid. So which means you're wasting your muscle. That shows, the urinary creatinine shows that you're wasting your muscles. Dehydration shows you're not doing any good to your body. So there are different types of diets. See, one is going to be intermittent fasting. There are different types of fasting where you do a 12 hours fast and you eat during the 8 hours window. But this also you have to be very careful. It is given in every study that this 12 is to 8 shouldn't be done every day. Okay, so you need to do it 3 times a week, and other 4 times you need to stick with your usual diet, and obviously stick with healthy eating. That is what is going to help. So intermittent fasting has also shown to reduce fatty liver. It has shown to improve insulin sensitivity and improve the nitric oxide, which is going to signal your cardiac markers. Your adipose tissue, that is going to be when there is lesser adipose tissue in your body, there's going to be increased insulin sensitivity. Okay, pancreatic islets have shown to actually regrow when the diet is good, and when you're balancing a very neat diet. Actually, your pancreas, your beta cells has shown to regrow again and produce good insulin at that point. And the glucose uptake by your muscles will also be good. And next, let me go into the ketogenic diet. It's the same. See, ketogenic diet, what are we going to do? We are going to go have high fat, but unsupervised ketogenic diets have proven to be really fatal in so many cases. Let me give you the cons of keto diet also. It is shown to lead to constipation, keto confusion, low energy. Another example of the keto diet going wrong is one of the clients that I have seen during my hospital days. Obviously, what happened is, she was on a diet. She was a 50-year-old woman who was obese, and her BMI was around 35. So she had gone to a place and they had suggested keto diet. She used to have at least 500 grams of meat in a day. So, and what happened is, 8 months, 9 months, she reduced weight. She reduced around 25 kgs, 30 kgs. And after that, she felt, okay, I've done my part and I have to get back. So within 3 to 4 months, she came back to us with kidney stones, with fatty liver, with her weight gained back. Because these are types of diet, when you're doing it under no supervision, definitely this is going to lead to harmful effects. See, you can follow a healthier keto diet with the help of an expert who has thoroughly studied keto, who has been certified in that particular field. So you can ask help from them if you're really interested to follow a diet. It has shown to induce mouth odor, and the cholesterol levels have shown to increase. So it is very important you choose a more sustainable diet than a very faster diet that is going to where you're going to bounce back to your old lifestyle, which is not going to work at all. So, pro and prebiotics, this is one thing that I really want to talk about. So, probiotics have shown to improve your good fatty acids, and they are shown to improve. So, what happens here is, see, prebiotics, there are two types of bacterial food. One is going to be probiotics. What is probiotics is, these are foods that already contain live strains of bacteria. So what are prebiotics is, these are food that are going to feed your bacteria that is present in the intestine. That is, it's going to feed the good bacteria. So either way, the bacteria is going to grow and do good to us. So what is the good that the bacteria is doing is, it's going to release something called as short chain fatty acids. That's called HCFA. and that SCFA is in turn going to, it attaches with your cholesterol and helps to metabolize your cholesterol at a much faster level. It is going to improve your satiety, which means the food you eat is going to be utilized the correct way. So this bacteria in your intestine in the recent times have trained very good importance, because they actually play a good role in weight loss, in improving your triglycerides, improving hypertension and diabetes. So it is important for us to choose food. See, we are not going to have, say, if I say I'm going to take curd, I'm not just going to have curd as a whole meal. I'm going to have it with other foods that is in together. It is going to do good to us. Okay, so what are the dietary modifications that we are going to do here? This is the usual food pyramid and this is the usual food pyramid and the food plate that we usually talk about. But what I want to imply here is, see, carbs has to be taken in a smaller quantity, but I won't say you have to cut down your carbs. You don't have to leave rice or bread or chapati just because you want to lose weight. It can be taken in good quantities, and there are also other different types of carbohydrates. See, there are two types of carbs, to be very precise. That one type of carb is going to be simple carbohydrates and the other type is going to be complex. Fill your plate with complex carbohydrates. We are never going to ask you to cut down complex carbohydrates. See, if you are going to have rice, have it with a source of protein, have it with a source of fat. I will share some plates that I have taken, and I will show you some examples right now. And protein also should be given equal importance when we are changing our lifestyle. We should not aim to cut down our food. We should not aim to starve ourselves. We should be aiming ourselves to provide and nourish our body with the right nutrients. So this is one of my personal experience with metabolic syndrome. So let me just tell you what really happened with myself. So I completed my studies. Then I had to write certain exams before I go to work. So once I started work, 1 month I had gone to office, and by the end of March 2020, we were in. Excuse me. Okay. By the end of March, unfortunately, we had to have our Corona lockdown, and all of us had to stay at home. So I stopped going to office. I started working from home, and this lifestyle really had a very big toll on me. See, this directly influenced the way I was eating, because this was my first job. So I had to show my best. So I concentrated on the work fully. I stopped concentrating on myself. I've studied nutrition for 5 years. I know what to do to reduce my weight, but I didn't do that. Okay. So this was my before picture. So my sugar levels at that time, my fasting was around 90-95. Though I didn't cover the criteria for metabolic syndrome, but I knew at that point, when I'm going to stay like this, the next within the next 2 to 3 months, I will be fulfilling at least 2 to 3 criteria of metabolic syndrome. So my sugars were around, my fasting was around 90 to 95 on a daily basis, and my my waist circumference was definitely on the higher side. So I knew, if I'm not going to take any steps, this is not going to work out. So what did I do? I changed my usual diet. I changed the type of carbs I was having. I changed the type of protein I was having. I changed the type of fat I was having. My plate usually consisted of a good portion of vegetables, some dal or paneer. Or since I'm a non-vegetarian, I also have fish, chicken, and usually I try to have vegetables with a lot of dal, so that I feel full for the rest of the day and I don't feel like having another snack. And I have sweet potatoes a lot. Roots and tubers really played a very important role, because see, I have not cut down any of my food groups here. I have been taking every food a South Indian will have, but in a much more healthier version. If I want dosa, I felt I need to mix a vegetable with it, because of fiber with another carb is going to reduce my satiety, and it is also going to improve my satiety, and it also adds fiber to the food. It will not get digested fast, and also I'm giving the right nutrients to my body. So along with sustainable dietary changes which I'm still continuing, I also stuck to exercises where I felt I was doing cardio for some time, but I felt cardio was not really doing the thing. So I had to do some resistance training, which actually helped me. So now I my fasting sugar, I try to maintain it between 70 to 75, and I maintain my diet through the day. See, I won't call it a diet, because every time I talk to a client, I tell them, see, this is your diet. But one thing I've learned is when I tell them this is your diet, they're like, how long should I follow the diet? Your diet, it does not have an expiry date. I would say that with 100% confidence. If I'm going to give you some dietary advice right now, that has to be followed throughout your life. You need to make, see, it doesn't mean 1 or 2 days you can go out of the track, you can go out for dinner. See, that should be, see, we are all humans, we can't just stick with having only this food. No, 1 or 2 days we are going to go out, have food that we like, instead of feeling guilty coming back. See, today I had, what is the use of me dieting tomorrow? It will not work like that. Today I have a plate of momos, tomorrow I get back to my usual plan. I have lots of vegetables, I have curd, I have my protein. So it is going to work like that. Your guilt should be out of the picture when we are making up our mind to follow a sustainable dietary change. So what do I want you guys to take home from my presentation is, even a small condition like diabetes, understand the pathophysiology. See, I'm not expecting everyone to read the full physiology book. No, at least understand that in how, what work insulin plays inside the body, so that we are able to make the changes. Without informing the physiology, if I'm going to tell the dietary changes to someone, you guys will not be ready to listen to it. When I tell you, see, your cells are filled with fat, I want your insulin to work, that is when you're going to understand the urgency and importance of the dietary advice that someone is going to give you. Make every step or workout count. Every workout, every step. You have to have a very active lifestyle. See, one day, maybe a Sunday, we are going to take a rest. See, 1 or 2 times when you're going to be lazy, that's fine. But we need to really have an active lifestyle, even if we are working from home. Even when we are sitting in front of the laptop, we should make it a point. What I usually do it, I place my laptop at a much higher space, and I try to stand and work for 10 to 15 minutes. See, that does not burn my calorie, but that at least keeps me active, instead of me sitting in a very uncomfortable position and not working out well. No, I will stand up and work so that I'm active and concentrating on that particular work. Go local and traditional. The food that I have shown here, everything is local here. Please don't go to something, this drink somebody told me, that drink somebody told me. Please don't go for that. Try to stick with the food that you are cooking for yourself. Try to make vegetable porridge at home, sabjis at home. Try to make the sambas at home. Don't stick with easy out. Someone is suggesting a meal replacements. Please don't do that. That's not going to work on a longer time. And customized approach. I have followed this plan. I know this work for me because I have been in the field. I know this work for me. But maybe for another client, I cannot suggest the same thing. Maybe I have to improve their protein level because the body demands more. So every you cannot follow what your friend is going to tell you. See, I follow this diet, you also follow the same. No, it doesn't work like that. So every person has a customized approach. So it is important to see an expert when you are ready to change your lifestyle. This does not mean you have to change your lifestyle only when you're diagnosed with sugar or hypertension. Start your workouts and start a sustainable lifestyle from today, from this minute. So thank you. If there's any questions, I'll be really happy to take up the questions.
Wow, that is really great, Angeline. It is really very practical points you have given, and you also gave you yourself as an example, which is commendable. That is very nice, and I must thank Mohan Priya for introducing you to me to give this talk today. and very good take-home messages from your talk. And there are many more, in fact, like we have to treat the root issue, and you have also thrown light on the popular diets and how to take them, and you asked us to take counsel from a dietitian or a nutritionist. And also you showed certain information on COVID deaths related to metabolic syndrome. That is very important because we may see new things happening. So we need to be really fit, and metabolic syndrome is something like water under the mat. So we really have to be very careful with that. So yeah, and the last point that I really liked, take the guilt should be out of the picture to have sustainable food pattern. So it's very important. So one can have or biryani, or one can have whatever they like, but then they should not think that that is the end of the diet, but they again have to resume there. Really nice presentation. And anybody who has any questions, please ask. As long as she's here, you can ask her directly. You can open your video and unmute, and then we can ask. Hi, Vani garu. Hello, sir. Suresh Kumar, sir. Hi,
Hello, madam.
Samita.
Ma'am, may I?
Yes,
Yes,
doctor.
Uh, uh, Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, Mary, ma'am. Angelene, very good evening. Nice presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah. My name is Dr. Suresh, and you mentioned about a couple of papers that you published, right? And I could see that one is on Journal of Diabetes.
Yes,
Second
sir,
one.
yes,
And where did you publish the first one?
the
Diabetes
first one
education.
yeah, the intermittent fasting was on Journal of Diabetes Education,
Okay.
and the second one is from Galore International paper. That publication, the one on cardiac transplant.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I just wanted to go through the papers once. I mean, how you presented it. So, if possible, you can share the link with Mayuri ma'am, and I'll get it from her. So, that is the only
Sure. So
request. Otherwise,
I'll be really
yeah.
happy to share the
Otherwise,
paper, sir.
yeah. Otherwise, the presentation is fantastic. Lot of energy and very enthusiastic. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
and I'm very happy to note that your mentor is Dr. Meenakshi. She was one of our privileged, very early guest who spoke on
Fourth,
different diets. Yeah,
fourth
fourth
speaker.
guest when we started Tea Talks Tuesday 2 years back.
That's
Very
very
happy
nice.
that, yeah, very happy that her student is also here in Tea Talks. Good. Anybody else?
Yeah, audience, any questions? You can just please post your questions, and participants on Zoom, you can just unmute and you can ask your questions. Angelina is here. Yeah.
Anyone? Samantha, you don't have any question?
Yeah. It's a very beautiful
Presentation.
presented. Yeah, ma'am, no doubt.
Like 2 decades ago, non-alcoholic fatty liver was a new thing on metabolic syndrome.
Yes.
Now PCOD
PCOS,
is there on metabolic syndrome.
insulin resistance.
Of course, yeah. Okay, so any questions you want to ask, Mayuri?
As of now, no questions, doctor. It was a very clear and crisp presentation. I think we are good to go for today.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I have a person, dyslipidemia is there, a known patient, but then she cannot exercise more because she has the osteomalacia case also, the known osteomalacia. So in that case, what kind of exercise, like exercise would help them, ma'am? Although they cannot walk much, or any other kind. There is loss of muscle tissue also.
Let
So
me answer.
exercise is one part which you said is more important, na ma'am.
Sorry.
Exercise.
Someone who
The
cannot exercise, for example, like the case
Yeah.
she's
See, you
mentioning.
can be through something called as nitric oxide dump exercise. Okay, these are very mild exercises for people who are unable to mobilize their hand or legs. And I would also suggest my patients to do upper body exercises. At least we can strengthen those muscles with very less weight, like half kg weight. They can do using the dumbbells. They can do very mild exercises just for their upper body, where they can sit not doing any much stress, and they can continue this exercise. Also, you can read through something called as nitric oxide dump exercises, which are mild exercises for people who are older and also undergoing certain issues with their bones. And
Okay.
obviously, in extreme cases where they're having really painful episodes, we are not going to suggest exercises, which is not possible at all in extreme cases. In cases where the pain is controlled and where they're able to do, I would suggest upper body exercises with the recommendation of the doctor too, and also mild nitric oxide dump exercises.
Thank you, ma'am.
I just got somebody who's not who's on bed or something. These thermopads are being used by physiotherapists. Will they be useful in these cases? Can we?
Probably, ma'am. I think a physiotherapist will be able to help us at this point for sure.
Hmm.
I think they will be able to help the patient to exercise their muscles and bones. They will be at a much more better place to explain about it in a bedridden patient.
Right.
And also, ma'am, I think this hydro exercise. I mean, this something I'm not sure if I use the right
Yes,
in the
hydrotherapy.
pool. Hydrotherapy. That also has less impact on the bones. I mean, joints. So
Yes.
I think that also helps.
Yeah. Two of my clients, they go for swimming because they are not even able to stand properly. So they go for swimming.
The
That
reason, ma'am, arthritis, or what is the reason behind not being able to walk?
obese and arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and there's also this thyroidectomy was done. So to improve, they need to exercise compulsory on daily basis. So for that, because she's not able to stand because of her weight, she's about 120 kgs. So she's now going to
Hydrotherapy.
specific hydrotherapies are there for this kind of in this kind of situation. Of course, now she with the diet and all, she has come down to 98 kgs. She's progressing well.
Oh, that's
And now,
awesome.
and she's able to stand on the weighing machine
Great.
without help. Yeah. She's able to stand. She's able to walk of a little distance and all.
That's great.
Because she used to go from car into the wheelchair, from wheelchair to the swimming pool, into the swimming pool, and again wheelchair to the car. Now from car she can get down, walk up to the swimming pool, and she can do her own things, many of her own things on her own.
It brings so much of hope and strength in them, ma'am, mentally.
Mm.
You know.
Definitely, that's a, of course she's 68 years old, but still.
That's a great achievement, doctor. Even at the age of 68 years. Self-motivation, again, which is a driving factor.
She's a very strong lady that way.
True.
She gave birth
But
to about
exercise is
8 children.
Right.
Yes.
No, exercise is something we don't actually look it like a part of our, way of living, ma'am. Only, at times you look for a, right mood and time. No, not
Yeah.
exercise free. Even
True,
I
true.
do just, once in a while. Then again, weeks of gap. Again,
Gap.
then start.
That's why
That's what.
being active in every step is what she's
Yeah,
mentioning.
8,000. Yes, yes.
Yeah, Angelene is mentioning that only. So
Yeah.
we need to be active in everything, whatever we are doing,
Yes, ma'am.
including working on the laptop, like standing. It may not be exercise as she said, but still, it keeps us active,
Active.
on the toes, kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah, literally on the toes. So every step counts.
Very much needed topic, ma'am. In fact,
Yeah, very
you
much
see these
needed.
cases quite often. Like, everybody has one of the, other issues these days.
Yeah.
Yes.
The young people are really getting affected right now. I think
That
we
is
need
the
to start concentrating on that more.
It's
that
more
is,
of gadgets.
that is really sad part, because adolescents and very young adults getting into this criteria of 5 points, it's very saddening. That is too early
Yes.
to get into metabolic syndrome,
Metabolic syndrome.
because by
No,
50s,
even
by 40 or 50, by 40s, there'll be full blown picture of any kind of condition, health condition, severe health condition.
no, ma'am. If you see the number of death rates during the COVID time, we've seen a lot of people in 20s and 30s
Yes.
having existing comorbidities. So many people lost their lives.
See, metabolic syndrome, we really don't know, and we won't check also. See,
True.
Angeline, because she thought she might, though she is not into criteria, but because of her food habits and because she's aware, she took a,
Proactive steps.
yeah, corrective steps, and she's back to normal. But then now many people, they think I am normal. I also think the same. I am normal. I feel proud that I am normal and all, but I'm not normal. So many
And
things
then
will be
another
happening inside.
thing is, ma'am, the thing is, though I am back to normal, I cannot be lethargic at this point because I can easily bounce back and get back there. That is the issue here. People think, okay, I will follow your diet because the people outside, they're like, okay, this is a 3 months diet plan. 3 months you can lose 10 kgs of weight. After the 3 months, they feel, okay, I can go, but it doesn't work like that. We
Yes.
are
True.
not back to normal at all. We need to keep, that is why a sustainable diet is going to work here
True.
instead of doing all these
Continued
planned
efforts.
diets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. For
So
life, it has
it's
to be
not
for
going to be
life.
time bound. It's not going to be time bound at that to the in this situation where most of us are IT professionals. It is going to be a great challenge, and we need to look at this at a much more better perspective. That's when we can have a healthy lifestyle.
True.
Very true. Especially IT professionals, and especially who are working night shifts. What we found in a survey was like, 3 years into night shift, uh, high BP and low HDL. This is the most common one. And both are not, not that visible. Suppose even high BP will not be seen in the blood test unless they go and check the BP.
Correct.
So HDL, low HDL was there, and it was like, people used to think anything that is low is good.
Hmm. Yeah, a lot of people, they think that HDL, if it is low, it is
Cholesterol.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, cholesterol is low, then it is good. That's true. A lot of people carry this myth.
Yeah.
Ma'am, but I have seen patients whose lipid profile is not very bad, like just 5 units above the normal range, the so-called the range, like maybe I can say like 205 or so. Even the
Mm.
ratio,
Mm.
the triglycerides and HDL, the cholesterol and HDL ratio, no, it's fairly within the range, but still they are put on statins. Why
Yeah.
is it so, ma'am? Just
Yes.
as a prevention, or is it like stunt again? Because I've seen people who have very decent, from the beginning, a kind of healthy lifestyle. Cholesterol is not that bad. Still, they have developing clots, atherosclerosis condition developing.
Yeah.
So
True.
what could be the real picture, ma'am? Because earlier I used to think like, cholesterol is the culprit. You know? But when we really see now the picture, it's not like, okay, fairly not, 2,200 is the limit you have given. 205. This is our repeated test, ma'am. It's not this, one single report we are talking about.
Yeah.
But still they are put on statins, and still I have seen my own aunt having this, stenosis, somewhere she had this numbness on the right side of the face and the head.
Yeah. Okay.
So she
So,
had, MRI showed this.
okay. So
Yeah.
that is to stop or arrest manufacturing of further fat into the body, because she already
Mm.
has one more condition, the numbness and all. Otherwise she's
Mm.
not. Otherwise she's not
Anemia.
normal.
Okay.
She's normal only, no, but she has the extra one more condition. That's why she's put on
Mm. Okay, statins,
statins.
just as a prevention.
Yeah, but there are many protocols where statins are given as preventive. Aspirin and statins are given as a preventive medication, minimal dose at the age of
Yeah.
40 or like that, if you have other risk factors. That is one.
But
And newly
mm,
diagnosed, supposed to protocol is supposed to follow 6 months lifestyle changes,
mm,
diet and exercise. Then still, if it persists, it doesn't show any change at all, then they have to
Mm.
take up to the medication.
Yeah.
okay, okay. Thank you, ma'am.
So let's say
Yeah.
vote of thanks to Angeline.
Yes, yes.
She got a call and
Yeah, I
probably she
think
left.
she's on a call.
Yeah,
Angeline,
I
are
am
you
back,
there?
ma'am.
yeah.
I'm back. Yeah.
Okay,
But you're not seen?
visible.
Yeah,
You're not
I
visible?
think my video. 1 minute, 1 minute. There's some issue with my video. Able to see me? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Angeline, for being here on Tea Talks and giving us enlightening us with such a great session and very crisp and clear session. Thanks for being here on Tea Talks.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's really a pleasure for me to be here. Thank you, Dr. Janaki, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity and letting me select my own topic. Actually, I am more comfortable with this topic, and that's the need of the hour. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a great listening. It was really great listening to you, and it's our pleasure to have you. And we would like to see you again also in some time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Definitely. Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you,
So
ma'am.
this is for this Tuesday. See you all next Tuesday, same time, same place. Bye for today.